Hi, I'm Jo Munday and welcome to Videos That Get Clients, a podcast for entrepreneurs, business owners and coaches, and anyone really who wants to use video to really connect with their clients in an authentic way. I'm with Juanita Sinclair again, who is a content and visibility coach, and she's a real expert in online marketing and getting your message out there, getting your video content, in this case, out there to a wide audience as possible and a targeted audience. So hi, Juanita.
Hi, Jo. Thanks for having me again.
Thanks for coming back again. I suppose just getting straight into it, really. Like today I want to talk about sharing your video and so once you've got some great content, there's such a diverse range of things you can do.
Yeah.
To share it, and it can be a bit overwhelming there seems to be new things popping up all the time.
All the time.
And so I suppose a question is, how can people tell what the best way to share something is without sort of spending ages and just sort of sporadically putting it everywhere that they can think of? There must be a sort of a better route than that. Yeah.
So when we create something, kind of bear in mind who it's for and what you're talking about. So with video, if it's really practical business, we're talking business stuff, we're talking something that is relevant to the day-to-day operations of a business or to support an entrepreneur, you'd consider a platform like LinkedIn or YouTube. Reason being is that's where that crew or that tribe are hanging out. You can add stuff to your profile, really useful. So when somebody is coming to find out more about you, a lot of the time, even if you meet someone at networking, they'll do their little snoop before they contact you again. Like, who is this Juanita Sinclair? And who has she worked with? And what is she up to? And what you want to do is be able to give people a feel of you before. So it's really great that if you've just started out and you're doing pro bono stuff, like ask for testimonials, get recommendations on LinkedIn, let people share what their experience of you was versus telling people what it's like to work with you. So yeah, it's kind of like, who am I speaking to and what am I speaking about, and where would that be really relevant to share it?
Fantastic. And so would you say, so LinkedIn is more business focused. Would you say the other social media channels also have a bit of a kind of flavour to them or demographic?
Yeah, they do. So a great way to do this is like, what do people use the platform for? Now, I know that they told us we do Facebook advertising and everything else, but at the heart of Facebook, it's about community. It's about friends knowing what other friends are up to. So people are on there to buy. Very important thing to know. They're not on there to buy. They're on there to watch cat videos. They're on there to laugh at their friends' drunken picture, or they're there to see other people's holiday pics or whatever. You're there to get a feel of what's going on around you and who you care about. So on Facebook, really useful content is valuable content, giveaway content, knowledge, wisdom, tips. Facebook's great for that. Someone will stop and listen to that. They'll stop and listen to a story. LinkedIn, I'm talking about something really business specific. Now, if I'm on LinkedIn, I'm generally looking to network. I'm generally to look at the latest articles from whoever I'm following. There's a blogging feature in LinkedIn, and you can post your video and you can put a little bit of script behind it and you can let it circulate, and those that are connected with you in your network will get a feel of your expertise. So if you want to share your expertise, LinkedIn's a massive, great platform for that. Twitter's a great platform for that as well. But another thing Twitter's really great for is connecting you with other influencers in your industry. Now, if you think about how you use Twitter, I don't know anyone that goes in and reads all their timeline tweets. They generally use it to look for key people, what's going on in my industry, what's emerging, what's trending, what am I eating? You can share that on Twitter too. Or look who I've just bumped into. But it's all about, from a professional point of view, if you're going to use Twitter as a social media platform, it's a great way to let your customers and clients know what you're up to in life. But it's also a great way to share other influencers who are saying great stuff sharing them with your audience. And then generally the Twitter etiquette is, oh, you're sharing my stuff, I'll share your stuff. So it's great for influencer strategy is what I call it.
So with Twitter, it's more about kind of finding key players in your industry and building a bit of a relationship and a tribe, and would you say that that's sort of nurturing that more than the others? Yeah,
it's like, what are you hanging out for? I mean, with me, you get added to something called lists. So if you continually talk about something, and hashtags, like, they're not just hashtags, they're really useful things. So if you're a copywriter, if you're a coach, just go into the top right hand search box, put coaching in, well-being in, and you'll see a load of trends come up of people talking about what you're talking about. So not only do you get the opportunity to share great stuff with your audience, but you also get to connect with people who may be on your podcast, you could maybe interview you. A bit of nurturing. It's about nurturing those in your industry and finding out what's going on, what's being said about what you're up to in life. And Twitter's really useful for that. It's also great for sharing when you're periscoping or doing something else.
So would you say, just going back to the hashtags, it's a good, say if you're sort of new to Twitter or you're new to building that community, to sort of find out maybe who the key influencers are or the key people within that area are by looking up particular key terms?
Yeah, so you can, I mean, for me, I did content marketing, and that's how I found so many of the other people that have taught me how to do my job better, you know, because you sharing your stuff is really cool, but sharing other stuff that's valuable to your audience, other stuff that people care about, you get to build a rapport. So for me, it was guys like Brian Clark, copy blogger, Tara Gentile. That's me. That's my industry. Who are talking to the people I'm talking to and doing it really well. So it gives you some insight, and it also lets them know you exist. So I was really passionate as a coach, as someone, Danielle Laporte, but I discovered Danielle Laporte through looking at wisdom, hashtag wisdom, and, you know, seeing what was trending in that, seeing what was trending in content marketing, and then getting to connect with people who really know their stuff. And then you can follow them, share their stuff, and then you create sharing that's valuable. And then that's how you get noticed, because you're sharing content, not just your own, but content that's valuable to the people that you want to reach and connect with.
Lovely. So kind of it's a bit about doing some behind the scenes work really around your video, or perhaps even before you send it out into the world. And so when you do send it out, it's kind of already got a bit of...
Yeah, because the myth about social media is that it's a broadcasting tool. At the core of it, I guess, on a basic Neanderthal level, it is. But social media is just that, social interaction media that is social. Meaning, so if you're being social, you're going to have etiquette, you're going to share well, you're going to share good information, you're going to connect with the people that are relevant. So Twitter's like a massive networking party where everybody's saying their 140 characters of good stuff, books you're reading, people you're influenced by, sharing. One of the great ways to get influencers to notice you, if you read their books and everything else, you can at that person and say, look, I've had this insight about your book. I mean, they're going to want to share that. When they retweet that, it goes to their community. Another thing now Twitter's doing is you can like stuff. So when you like it or you favourite it, you can keep it, go back to it, refer it, tweet it another time, schedule it another time. So Twitter's a big networking party. So it's great for sharing your videos, but it's also great for connecting with influencers. And that's what I suggest to my clients is the most beneficial way of using it.
So you find Twitter really a very powerful medium?
A lot of the people I've been able to connect with, a lot of people I've been able to work with or be interviewed by. For instance, I got my Google gig. I got that through Twitter because I was sharing valuable content, and then I was on a load of lists that people create lists. So a list in Twitter, you can create a list of your favourite people or people who talk about a topic you're interested in. So I was being featured a lot on content marketers lists and entrepreneur lists and people who know a lot about content. So because I featured on a lot of those lists, because Google was looking for those people, I was on that list, and that's how I ended up getting a freelance contract through Twitter. So it's a bit of observation, it's a bit of patience, but it is social media, it's interaction, it's connection in quick, short bursts. So be mindful of how you're using the medium, why you're using the medium, and what you share, because it is a game changer if you do it right.
So you mentioned kind of etiquette earlier, and are there any kind of rules or do's and don'ts in terms of...
Yeah. So you can create something and be really excited about it, like start gate crashing everyone's groups and have this, I'm doing this, I'm creating this, I'm selling this. It's about relationship, and think about groups as you going to visit someone's house for the first time. And there's a way you walk into your mom's house, and there's a way you walk into someone's house that you're getting to know, and you probably know where they keep their sugar and their tea. And then there's a house where you've been to for the first time. Groups and people who have built communities around what you specialise in, around what you do, contribute, share what you know. Because one of the things that I did, and I joined the groups for me. I didn't join the group with an agenda. They were probably talking about something I wanted to talk about. But if somebody had a question and I knew the answer, I'd share. And when you begin to do that, people begin to know you for a certain thing. So after a while of doing that, and you comment anyway, if you can comment on the cat video, you can comment on someone's question. So after a while, people begin to assimilate that with what you do. So the other day, a great example of that is I was in a group and one of the ladies says, I don't know what to do with my social media. And there was 10 people that said, Juanita J. Sinclair, Juanita J. Sinclair, Juanita J. Sinclair. But that happened because I made it. I'd just gone out and I'd shared what I know. If I don't know, I'll direct them to someone who can. A brand is a promise. A brand is an ideal. It's a story you tell people that lets them know. When I say Juanita, people say marketing generally, because that's what I talk about all the time. But at the same time, doing that, building rapport, getting in groups with people who are doing what you're doing, up to what you're up to. But, common sense. Ask the group leader, would this be relevant? Don't paste the same thing in the same group. So if you're in several groups, maybe the other people in those groups are too. And one of the things that makes content interesting is when you can see some thoughts being put behind it. So you might be sharing the same thing, but if you're sharing it in a different group, change the paragraph before, make it relevant to who you're sharing it to. What's going to make this piece of content relevant? Ask permission. I'm doing this event, I think it'll be really valuable to the people in the group. Is it okay? And if it's not okay, negotiate with people who do have a tribal community. Is there a way that we could talk about this together? Is that, So ask, I guess.
And and my experience of Facebook groups as well is that some are more open to just kind of putting your more obvious sales kind of posts than others, and others will be like, only on a particular day of the week, or so it's worth kind of reading their little intro.
Their house rules.
Yeah, exactly. So, and some actively encourage it. So, in which case, go for it. And what would you say to someone who perhaps doesn't have loads of time to do social media, keeping it succinct? Is it better to maybe just follow a few groups and get into the community vibe of that rather than dipping in and out?
Little and consistent. If you're going to get into the social media game, be consistent, because that's what it's about, staying in the conversation. So if you want to do it, start small. There's loads of scheduling tools you can use. There's two great ones that I love, Buffer and Hootsuite. And if you just take an hour out of a day and you think about all the things you want to share, and if you spend that little bit of time looking at who you want to share to, and who's got stuff that's got other content that's going to be valuable to your audience. You can share their stuff too. And it's literally, I'm going to do an hour a week where I just find stuff that's relevant, put it into my scheduler, and off I go. And with groups, start with one. And as you find more time, it can be a very time-consuming job, content marketing, but it can become your full-time job if you're not careful. So start little and consistent are the words of the day when it comes to social media. So if you just want to talk every Wednesday, just do it every Wednesday. But share as much as you can, but automate as much as you can is another useful tip.
Yeah, I like that, the sound of that. So you can kind of do it in a time of day and etc. that suits you rather than...
Tuesday's my social media day where I schedule what I'm going to say for the week. It does take some prep, but it's worthwhile. And it's not an overnight thing, but consistency will give you followers. Consistency will build trust. And it will also build relationship. You'll become known for something. And if you are the product, it's really important to be known for something. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going back to that kind of visibility thing.
Visibility thing, yeah.
Brilliant. So what about YouTube and sort of creating a YouTube channel versus perhaps putting your videos on Facebook?
Yeah. So YouTube, again, is like a mini TV station. Now that's a broadcasting tool. It's brilliant for SEO. It's brilliant for getting you noticed when people are Googling and looking for what you offer. The key thing to remember when sharing on YouTube, again, is your message consistent? So sometimes you come across profiles where they started off talking about relationships and now they talk about dogs. And then there's, so keep it consistent. Again, when you're categorizing your video, like what are you talking about? And be as specific as possible. Titles, keyword research, I'm using all this jargon now, but keyword research is basically using words that the person who would be looking for that information would use. There's a lot of stuff you can do where it's just, you put it in, consistency and making sure, but using YouTube, it's about getting subscribers. It's about getting people notified when you post a new video. So I say to clients, YouTube's great for sharing one link, but if you want to make video a key part of how you share your content, then making sure that it's consistent, the message is consistent, and making sure that you keep it up, because nothing's worse than you get into a video and then part 2 coming soon and part 2 never arrives. So I would suggest you use YouTube if you're planning to use and make video a big part of how you're going to show up online. If you're just going to do it to have one video, well, that's fine. You can use the link and put it into your landing page or whatever you want to do. But unless you're planning to create a series of videos or make a commitment to video, you can lay off YouTube for a while and just use it to host your videos and share in relevant groups until you're ready to get out there and do the channel thing.
Okay, great. And so in terms of like getting subscribers and stuff, would that be a case of kind of actually getting a decent amount of content on YouTube?
Yeah, because people want to know what they're getting. And if they watch one good video, they'll watch another one and another one and another one. But what you don't want is, I want another one, or there isn't one. Our attention spans online are like goldfish. So once you've got attention is a valuable asset in this time. So if you've got the attention, what you want to do is maintain that, keep that connection with the person that's watching your video. So yeah, if you're thinking about it, 2 or 3, but then they're going to want more. So again, make a commitment to the medium you're using. If you've got a podcast or anything else, that's also great for YouTube as well. So you can create, you put your brand there or the picture there as what people focus on, and use it to share your content. But again, if you're only planning to do one podcast, then yeah, of course, use the medium, but don't start broadcasting and expecting loads of subscribers, because that's going to need consistency. And don't be afraid to get expert help. There's loads of places, Fiverr.com, people per hour, where you can find really skilled people who can help you upload your videos and tag them and get them done properly. So if you've got a little bit of a budget, then it's worthwhile doing it properly. So use the mediums that are out there for you. It's a buyer's market now, so enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely. And I suppose what I'm hearing with what you're saying about YouTube is a bit like Twitter, really. It's about, I suppose, nurturing that, and it's not you're not gonna have spectacular results overnight. I mean, it's unlikely. You might do if you hit gold somehow, but consistency and building that relationship.
Yeah, I mean, like if you're using a couple, like you're using Twitter, you're using YouTube, you're using LinkedIn, eventually all of us visit these different places, and it's what we call touch points. So it's kind of like we're trained to think that if we see someone around, they're famous or they're important. Oh, I saw her on LinkedIn, I saw her on Facebook, oh, bloody hell, she's everywhere. But really, you're not everywhere. But it's called, in the industry, it's called a touch point. It means that people get to see you and, again, begin to know you for something. Know that you consistently deliver something in this area on this topic. So if the need does arise, I want to talk about marketing and visibility. Generally, people will come to me via referral. Ironically, with the work I do, I have a very, very basic website with information about what I do and everything else, but I don't use it as a lead generation tool, because a lot of my work comes from referral. But that's because I kind of pop up everywhere talking about what I know, and that can support you, and people were more likely to want to share your stuff too.
Yeah, and what I'm hearing as well, what you're saying about you're saying that you kind of pop up everywhere, and as in everywhere in your particular market. Yeah. You're very targeted.
You're very targeted,
and so it's, what I'm hearing is with YouTube, which is just second only to Google in terms of search, and obviously with Twitter with the hashtags, again, it's a kind of search tool. So if you're very sure exactly what you're delivering, exactly what you're how you're unique, and what your focus is, and who your client is, then you can really start pushing those the key things on Twitter, the hashtags, and then the key search terms in YouTube, and then you're kind of off without really having to do as much work as it would appear that you're doing. Yeah.
So if you use social media in the right way, it will do the work for you. So if you've got clarity around YouTube, it's a search tool. Like, people go on there and look for the people they like, or they'll look for something. So Google it. Generally, it will come up in a search term. So it's worthwhile investing in keyword research. It's worthwhile taking some time out, working with a professional, or doing some videos, and then knowing what you're talking about, and then speaking to a professional about how to upload those videos and tag those videos so they can be seen by the people who need to see them, versus throwing them up there and hoping for the best and then tweeting them. Hashtags. You're using hashtags. You're talking to influencers. You can say, "Hey, look, I've created this. This is what my take on your chapter was," or whatever it might be, and allowing yourself to get the work done for you. It's social media, so be social, and it'll work in your favour. But it's really useful to know how these tools work on a practical level. If you're going to be strategic about sharing your content. I mean, if you're just sharing with your friends and everything else, I don't want everybody getting really strategic about how do I share my lunch post today. That's not what I'm talking about. But I'm talking about, if you want to use content as a way to connect with your customer, then a bit of homework or a bit of working with someone who knows their stuff and how these platforms are used can do massive transformation for your business in terms of lead generation.
Brilliant. And I think you're a walking, talking example of that, which is fantastic. And finally, just in terms of beyond social media, really. What is there any other advice you could share? Blogs or any other routes that people might take to share their video?
Yeah, so with blogs, guest blogging is amazing. And saying to people who are talking to the people you're talking about, hey, I know a bit about this stuff. Are you open to me doing a guest blog for you? Now, each guest blog is going to have its own rules, or own house rules and everything else, but a little bit, again, just a little bit of precision, a little bit of investigation, it's worthwhile. If you are someone who uses quotes and different things, again, just working with a graphic designer on Fiverr or something and saying, look, these are my quotes, can you make me some pretty memes? And what I mean by memes is those quotes you see on Facebook and that sort of stuff. So a little bit of, I mean, if you're a self-starter, canva.com is amazing. It makes you feel like you're a graphic designer, and you can create loads of things, and for $1 or so you can buy fonts, and you can play around on a drag and drop level. But if you want to be a bit more consistent and you want to connect images, blog posts, guest blogging, approaching influencers in your industry and introducing yourself. One of the things I would advise on that is don't follow them and then say, can I be on your podcast? But just taking the time out to see what they share, how they share it, what are their house rules, and seeing how you can fit into that. It can be really beneficial.
So would you say that there's quite a lot of bloggers out there who are open to having guest blog spots? Yeah,
there's lots of bloggers who over years have created an audience. Content marketing is, unless you have the amazing feeling of going viral, it can take a while. So there are people who have built up an audience, but one of the key things to remember is how can you bring value? People who have large audiences are very, very good at knowing what their audience wants, so they're not about to introduce somebody who doesn't. So doing a bit of research and saying, well, this person shares, sharing something from that community, getting involved in the groups in that community. How are they communicating? How are they connecting? And it's a great way of cross-fertilizing each other's tribe and introducing yourself to other people who can bring value. So yeah, it's a bit of homework. I know it's not what you want to hear. You want to hear something really quick and easy, but a bit of homework or someone to do the homework for you can have massive results.
Lovely, fantastic. I think that's been full of useful tips. And if anyone wants to get in touch with you, Juanita, how do they do that?
So you can get in touch with me on my website, www.juanitajsinclair.com.
And just, how do you spell that, just for people?
So Juanita, Juanita, Jay, Sinclair, Sinclair. Forgot how to spell my name. But yeah, find me on Facebook. Find me, I'm everywhere. So yeah, you'll bump into me somewhere. But yeah.
Try her out. Try
out my theory. Google me, and I'll show up, and yeah.
Lovely.
You'll find me.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. It's been a pleasure as ever.
Thank you, Jo.
Speak to you soon.
Yeah, bye.
Bye. So if you have any questions at all or want to find out a bit more, then please just get in touch. My Facebook page is Jo Munday Video Production. My email address is jo@jo-munday.com. That's jo-munday.com. And my website is www.jo-munday.com. Thanks very much for listening, and I hope to be in contact with you soon. Bye for now.